Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. I recently purchased a new product called the glue sponge and wanted to try it out on today's project. So today's project is specifically so that way I could use the glue sponge. Let's take a look and see what I thought about this brand new product. Before we get started today, I'm going to be taking a little closer look at the glue sponge from FyHal Inc., I guess is the name of the company, FyHal, FyHal. Anyways, it is a sponge, just as the name implies, that has glue in it. Just press, no mess, says the company here. I'll give you a little closer look here. Let's zoom in, there we go. So as you can see, it is a glue sponge. So there's a lot of glue down in the bottom of it. Let's go ahead and open this up. As you can see, this is the very first time I'm using it, and I wanted to tell y'all a little about it before we got into today's project. It does have its own little Tupperware container that it comes in. And there's a tab over here. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus on that. The little tab, nope, it's not wanting to focus. Hold on. There we go. All right, so there's this little tab right here, and it says to pull it down, and that's what opens your container. Like, that's the seal on it, basically. So now I can open up the container and reveal the glue sponge inside. And you can even see some of the glue up on the lid. So this sponge, I'm not gonna stick my finger in it because that would come back really messy. But basically you take your die cuts and you just kind of press it into it. And supposedly this glue dries clear as well. And if you need some extra glue, you can like really push into it and get some extra glue. And I'm not sure if you'd want to store this upside down. I'm just thinking ahead here, and if you store this upside down, you may have a leak problem happen, but you put the lid back on just like that, and then you kind of like burp it like you do your Tupperware containers. You kind of burp that extra air out, and it's closed nice and tight, so that way it's not going to dry your glue out. It says it's a permanent PVA adhesive and non-toxic, dries clear with no wrinkling over or over gluing, excellent for die cuts, thin or delicate materials, easy cleanup with just warm water, and made with a synthetic sponge to resist bacteria. Oh, I never thought about that. That would be a problem if bacteria was starting to, you know, infiltrate into your sponges or glues or anything like that. So that's kind of good to know. All right, let's see how this project goes using this new product. To get today's project started, I'm gonna go ahead and take a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of, I think this is like 60-pound paper or so. I'm just gonna take a little dot of adhesive and put it right here in the middle of my Turnabout jig. And then I'm gonna use the little lines or indentations or whatever you want to call them to line up where my card is going to be. There we go, just like that. So now this is all set up and ready to go. I just need to get the stamp actually put into my MISTI, and we'll go from there. Just as a reminder, if you have forgotten how to use your Turnabout stamps, you line up the, these come with the newer stamps, and I believe you can purchase them for the older stamps, but basically you just line them up on the Turnabout jig. It has the X on it in a little hashed mark line, and then you just line up your template on top of that, so the center of rotation is that point right there. And then I'm going to grab this one's always hard to get out of the packaging because it's such a large stamp. But what I'm going to do now is pull this out and line it right on top of that template, and then you'll be lined up and ready to go. Alright, that's close enough, so I'm going to go ahead and close the door of my MISTI and pick up that stamp. And that way everything is at least close. It's not going to be perfect. It's really hard to get them 100% perfect, so I'm going to set all the rest of this off to the side for now. And we'll work on getting this image all stamped up. I'm going to be using some raspberry close to my heart ink. I haven't pulled this stamp pad out for a while, so I'm hoping it's not dried out. I don't think it is, but we'll see. And I'll work all 4 sides using that raspberry ink. I'm not going to change colors in between. Alright, there we go, got the final one done. So now I'm going to clean everything up, including my fingers. Close to my heart ink is great, but man, it was sure hard to stamp this because there just wasn't a lot to grip with whenever you're using it. Can I stick it? Oh, I could have stuck it like that maybe and done it that way. Oh man, I should have thought of that. Oh well, it's already done, so no big deal. Next up, I'm going to use a sentiment from the Simon Says stamp and Cathy Zielske design, Can We Party? And I'm going to put it onto a piece of black cardstock. As you know right now, those black little stripy bits are all the rage in cards with the little sentiments embossed in white, which I'll be using Brutus Monroe, some alabaster, what is that stuff called? Embossing powder to do it. And then I'm using Versamark ink to ink everything up with, so that way, if you've never worked with Versamark, it's a clear sticky ink and basically allows the embossing powder to stick to it. I'm going to use my anti-stick powder tool thing, anti-static powder tool, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm just going to spread it all over the black cardstock, and it does show up quite nicely right now, but once I get it embossed, I can use my finger to remove it, so that way it is a nice clear image. Now that I've gotten this embossed, I'm just going to trim this up so that way it's ready to go. I think we need to start calling these little like black strips or sentiment strips or whatever you want to call them, I think we need to start calling them strippers. Yeah, think about that, like you're out crafting with your friends and you're like, oh yeah, we had a lot of strippers being made, or you know, how fun would that be, right? All right, my stripper is a little off kilter, but that's okay. That's just what it's gonna be. But as you can see, all that white went away, so it just has the white sentiment on it now. Next, I'm gonna move on and glue my sentiment together. So I have my glue sponge now, and it should be ready to go, at least I hope it is. And a lot of times people will use spray adhesive to glue their sentiments together, but I'm gonna try the glue sponge out today and we're gonna see how this works. So you just kinda push it into the sponge. And my finger is accidentally touching the sponge, but I'm not getting a whole lot of glue. Actually, I'm not getting a whole lot of glue at all. Even on my finger or anywhere. Alright, I got a little bit. That's not very much. Let me see if this will stick. It's not... It says to like prime it by sticking your finger in there and like kind of getting the juices going a little bit. Yeah, this is not sticking very well. At all, really. A little bit, but not great. Okay, hold on. Grab a baby wipe. Stick my finger in. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So you do kind of have to stick your finger in there to get the glue going. Yeah, because now it's bringing that glue up to the surface a lot easier because I'm kind of priming it, which almost in a way defeats the whole purpose of doing this because you don't really want to get messy to begin with. So that's a little curious to me, but oh well. Anyways. So I'm just wiping it off with a baby wipe. It doesn't really have an odor. I do smell a slight odor to it, but it's not, like with the spray adhesives, you have to hold your breath basically. All right, let's try this again. It's sticking to my finger because of the wetness of the baby wipe. Should have dried my finger a little better. All right, that worked okay. Wasn't horrible. Wasn't the best, but it wasn't horrible. Do that again, just kind of pushing it up against the glue. And I'm noticing that it is kind of coming off on the front side of my die cut as well, because as I'm touching the glue accidentally with my finger, it is it transfers from my finger onto the front of the die cut. Now forgive me, I'm not lining these up very nicely. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Let's do it one more time with the happy and then we'll move on to the birthday. So there's the happy all put together. Do I think that was easier? I don't know. Maybe if I was to take my glue sponge and like put it upside down for 5 or 10 minutes prior to using it, it might work a little better. All right, I've got happy birthday all popped up now, and you know, I'm just not sure if this is really a better way than the spray adhesive. I definitely, well, see, this one's starting to peel apart. I don't know that this is a better option. I think this is another option that you have, especially with like spray adhesives. They can be really difficult to deal with, and like you have to go outside to use them. This one, you don't have to worry about the fumes or spraying outside or anything like that. I'm just not 100% convinced that this is like the best way to do this. My layers are just not wanting to stick together either. I don't know. Not convinced, but I don't think it's 100% bad. I just don't think. I think I would need to prime it some more and really get that glue. Yeah, see, when I squeeze it, it really puts the glue up on the top, but then my finger gets all covered in glue, which that's the reason I was wanting to use the glue sponge, is so that you don't get your fingers covered in adhesive. So I don't know, tell me your thoughts. I think my biggest tip for you is to make sure to flip the sponge over like right as you're starting your craft, so that way by the time you get ready to glue, you don't have to worry about the glue still being at the bottom, and hopefully it will be working its way up to the top. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I'm not 100% sure if I would like call this better than spray adhesive, but you know, it just depends. If you can't handle spray adhesive, this is another alternative for you. All right, I have my card base. It's a 110-pound cardstock Nina Solar White. This is what I always use for my card panels, or my card bases, I should say, because it's thick and heavy cardstock and it works perfectly. I'm gonna grab my background panel and I'm gonna use my dot adhesive liner to go ahead and apply this onto my card base. Okay, I'm gonna bust out the glue sponge one more time in hopes that I'll be able to get a better result this time. I'm gonna stick the happy birthday, or the happy birthday on here, and see, it keeps getting, because my fingers touch the sponge, it keeps covering the front of the words with glue, which I know it does dry back clear, however, like you're still gonna be able to see that. I'm gonna put my birthday down here, push that down nice, and then I'm gonna use my happy up here. And can we party? Let's see, I think I'll pop it up. All right, I'm gonna put the can we party down here at the bottom, using a little foam adhesive to pop it up. And there we go. Probably should have used like a what do they call that? Like a border around it or something to make it pop out a little bit more. But it oh, you know what? We're not done. Hold on. I know something we can do. We can add a little Wink of Stella to it, and that should make it pop out a little bit more. All right, there we go. Now we got it. It's hard to pick up in the video, but there's a little bit of Wink of Stella on it to make it pop even more. And I think that looks pretty good. So those are my thoughts on the glue sponge. Maybe you might like it a little bit better than I did. I definitely don't think it's a horrible purchase, but maybe needs to be worked out a little bit. Or maybe I'm using it wrong. Also, a funny note, after trying to use the glue sponge and getting glue on my finger, I did wipe it off and it's mostly gone, but my fingerprint sensor on my phone doesn't unlock right now because it doesn't recognize my fingerprint with the glue filling it in. So, a little side note there, it's kind of funny. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, let YouTube know that you like my video, and then hopefully YouTube will share it across YouTube land. Also, don't forget to hit that button down below that says subscribe subscribe to my YouTube channel, and get great updates every time I post a new video or go live by clicking that bell notification icon, and make sure your notifications are turned on your mobile device so that way those notifications actually make it to you. Also guys, don't forget to check out my other social media links. Those are listed down in the description below. Come check me out, say hello, and get social with me. I hope everybody has a great day, and remember guys, normal's just a setting on the dryer. Bye!